Hey, how's it going? I am going to read you some cards. But first, please check out my little disclaimer signs there. And please pay particular attention to that area, which I had been forgotten to. I was forgetting to mention the area there. That right there with the arrows. Okay, so I'm not an expert at, I don't know, whatever I was just doing with my hand, if it has a name. Badly indicating. Terrible focus. Well, this isn't really a camera. Get it together. Okay, what's that doing there? So, I pulled 3 cards from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck. That lovely deck. And they are the number 51 card, Stars in the Sky, Limitless Possibility. And I'll just give you a look there. There seems to be some indication of a as above, so below type situation. But the figure in there, in the lotus position, connecting with stars in the sky, apparently. Oddly, it looks like code, like computer code, that is going from this figure's hands to the stars. Anyway, yeah, limitless possibilities. It kind of speaks for itself, but I probably will come back to that. And the second card I pulled was the number 29 card, Horned Cactus, and the subtitle is Resourcefulness. I always get it confused with this other card from this deck that has the subtitle Adaptability. I don't know why you needed to know that, but there you have it. So, yeah, the Horned Cactus, as you can see, is sort of like, I just thought of like a college mascot, or I don't know, I guess pro games have mascots too. Whatever. I do not patronize sporting events. So, the most times I see, like a team mascot is in some ad or something, and it's no team that's anywhere, and it's for a phone or something. But anyway, yes, the cactuses. Well, this has like a face on it, and I will attach personhood to a lot of things that are kind of inanimate, but I think this, sorry about waving it around. I think what this illustration is indicating is more about a person than a cactus, but cacti, I believe, is the plural. Cactuses, platypuses. They're hardy. The thing about it is, last year, maybe 2 years ago, I'm sure I was reading this card, and I was thinking of, at the time, drought conditions were super bad, and in desert areas where there were cactus, they were like drying up and falling over. And the thing about them that makes them so resourceful is that in better times than then, there's like they have, I believe this is what it's for, a taproot that just digs down until it finds moisture. Or I don't think they are relegated to one direction. I think they just follow the moisture, like the scent of it or whatever, however they detect it. But they will be standing in the desert where I don't know what was in my water. Particularly if you're not from the desert, you're not gonna immediately take in the fact that, you know, the green cactus standing there where everything else is like yellow and dusty and low to the ground and weedy at best. You're looking around and not seeing, you're not seeing life, is what I'm saying. And so the cactus is not the only adaptable, resourceful type of flora or fauna, all of it in the desert. Like, if you're not from there, you will look around and not see so much. But anyway, yeah, like you might just see a green cactus standing up and just think, wow, how is this thing surviving? Well, it's probably not the only thing surviving. It's just not recognizable to you because it's not your normal place or condition. So you just don't know how to read the terrain, and you have to like dig deep and become resourceful. I'll be coming back to that, I guess. And so the third card I pulled was, oh sorry, this was the number 29 card. 11, I love it. Ones, as far as like numerology and I guess numbers stand for others. I guess numbers stand for other stuff too. But just as far as reading numbers, ones are right at the top, even though it's the first number, so I guess you could think of it as low. But think of it like if you went backwards. But what would, if you just started out with your base numbers and you went backwards from 1, forget 0, what are you going to run into? 9. So it's not that low, is it? Anyway, and 11, which if you add 2 and 9, that's 11. Now you know what a 2 and a 9 look like. I'm a little tired. I'm a little loopy. Loopier. Okay, and so the third card I pulled was Spirit of the River, the number 50 card, and the subtitle is Movement Toward Adventure. And you know, I was gonna say, like, it's, if you like give yourself up to the spirit of the river, I don't mean like croak yourself or anything, but just sort of, well, you know, the thing about water is if you put another liquid into it, or water, and it's a body of water, or even if I were to you know, put a drop into here with this water, it will at once disappear and become one with the whole entire thing. So, I think that's, there's a hair stuck somewhere and it's tickling my face. Anyway, I think that's what I'm trying to get at with the feeling of the spirit of the water, where you're just, it's a complete immersion and you can't tell yourself from anything else. In fact, self becomes all and everything, and you're Borg. You are no longer an individual. Your individual essence has been added to the collective. So you're not a you, you're a we. You're a our, you're everything but an I. But it doesn't. But you don't. You're not getting like, what do you call it when you get sucked into the morgue? Assimilated. You're not. You're not being assimilated here. This is completely voluntary. What I'm talking about. You can either get into the spirit of the river and become one with it, or you can resist it. And you know, water can get turbulent, and if you're in the river, it can be flat and placid, and you think everything's all cool, but you don't really know what's underneath that surface. But you get an idea when rapids happen, because that's what happens when the water on top hits the water underneath. It comes out and it flips around and gets all white, and it'll toss an object like a river raft up in the air, and the soft people inside all over the place. I don't think those things have seat belts, but that is not the ideal way to travel in the spirit of the river. Because you're just gonna bump into all the lumps. But that represents resistance, as far as I'm concerned, to giving into the spirit. Sorry, it sounds like that, but giving into the spirit of the river, like you know, just surrendering to a greater force than your little drip alone. Oh, it's just blending into my shirt. Well, yeah, I mean, and making union with like others like yourself, you know, or, you know, becoming a collective in the water. There's power in numbers. There's strength in numbers. So you may feel like it's a horrifying, terrible Borg situation to like surrender so much that you just kind of blend into everything else and you lose your individuality. And you know what? We think that's scary, but I don't think we even know what that would be like. Maybe we would enjoy that, actually. Maybe it would be a lot easier if some sort of difficulty came along, and maybe because it's not just you, it's other people as part of the collective knowledge base that know how to do what's hard for you a whole lot better, and so the thing gets done, and it gets done well, and everybody gets to feel good about it and get a participation trophy because they solved the problem, fixed the issue. And that is why I don't think that's something to feel frightened of, like it's a Borg situation. Like if you're in a union because you have a job and you're fortunate enough that your particular job has a union, that is going to benefit you and your family and the other people in the union, and even the people outside of the union will benefit, because the people that want to resist it, the employers that don't want their employees to unionize, because you know, some of these big corporations, it's just ridiculous for them to say that it's a cost issue, because they pay like one dude enough to pay 100 dudes, like good, well, you know, and they're actually on the floor doing stuff. And you know, sorry executives, but if you're getting paid a whole ton of money and everybody else is suffering, you do not get my respect. And if you're just gonna accept that disparity and the disparity in life quality that it causes, then I don't care for your selfishness, and that's what I think it is. So, ranging far afield, sorry. And then I also pulled a, just stew on those for a moment, because I'm going to. I didn't know what I was going to say. I gotta let it sink in. I also pulled a card from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck. And it was, hold on just one moment. It was the, whoa, cool it. It was the tiger card. It is a it's a fire element card, as you can tell from the blazing inferno behind the kitty. And well, cats and moon stuff has been big this week for me. That's all I know. You know, there was the eclipse and there was a new moon, and you know, I was out the evening of the waxing moon, and I didn't get to see the eclipse because I'm just not in the zone. So whatever, man. You still get the vibes and whatever. So and I feel like I fully did. So, and cats, right? Okay, so like that's like some moon stuff. Oh, I know what I started saying. Well, it has to do with cats. So I opened up my deck sliding glass door to put food out, let the cat out, let him in, something. And then I was gonna turn around and come back here to this room, and I happened to see the moon. And it was a crescent moon, and it was above this apartment building that's across the way from my deck. That your building is in my way. You're ruining my view of the sky. So anyway, it's above this building that's just like, it's like half of it is the lot on the other side of the fence that's just blackberries and trees and bushes. I'm not sure who that property is attached to, because I'm at a weird triangle. Anyway, and then the other half of where I can see off my deck is this apartment building, and it's actually, I think, a couple of buildings. So it's like a big chunk of generic apartment in the way of my sky. So anyway, I did whatever I was doing at the open door for the cat, and then I went to turn around and come back in here, and I caught a glimpse of the moon. And it was a little bit, it was setting, but it wasn't like near the horizon. It was actually setting behind that stupid building. So I stopped myself and was looking at it, because I don't get out much at night, especially when it's cold. Like, I won't. But when it's warmer, I'll go like outside to the yard, actually, where I can get like big wide view of the sky. But anyway, I caught a glimpse of the moon, and it was a crescent moon, and usually you just see that white part, and there was like, you could see it wasn't an eclipse. I guess the dark part of the moon that the light wasn't hitting, that wasn't part of the crescent, but it was very pronounced, like the shape of it. I was very aware of like the orbness of it. It was like so round and not not just like homogeneous with the sky. Like, I never noticed it so much before, except for eclipses. And so I was all confused when I saw that. The eclipse had been 2 days before, like the whole country away practically, like across the country. Like, I'm on one coast and it was almost all the way to the other coast or something. It was over there though. But like cats, so like even today there is a cat. There are a bunch of wild or stray cats. They're probably wild, and some of them are orange tabbies, but not completely orange. Like, one's not full on stripe orange. He's got like white stuff, and then one's orange with. They're not like straight stripes. They go in like round shape. I don't know, man. I don't get to see all of them up close. They come on my deck to eat, and so if they see me, or if I make the wrong kind of noise, they run away. So I don't get real great looks at them. But there's this other one, and he's been coming around for a while. He's the first cat I've ever seen lift up his leg and spray up into a bush that's right across from my deck. And he was looking right at me when he did it too. And I'm like talking to him like, "Hi kitty, how you doing?" And then he did that and I was like, whoa, that was crazy and aggressive. My cat, sprays his territory. So this guy's a big Tom, and he's still got his tom-toms. They're pretty big. So, I was sitting out there last weekend on the deck, and I had left some food out, and I'll put out, whatever my cat doesn't eat, basically. Although I will give them fresh food, too. But on this occasion, there was some, I think, sardines that my cat is so, okay, I'm not going to get into it. He's finicky. That's all I'm going to say for now. But, he didn't want the sardines. And whenever I put them out there, it's like the possums come a-running. All the cats. It's like a siren or something. My cat is like, I'll have nothing to do with it. So, and he's been saying that about more and more foods. I should get him into the doctor, because I'm like, what the hell can I give this guy anymore? I hope it's not anything serious. I have just been trying to get caught up from last summer financially. If I have to take him to the vet, oh my God, is this never gonna end? Well, anyway, the cat outside. So the Tom comes, the big Tom. And he's orange, but he's also got pretty big areas of white too. So I was calling him Orange Guy. I just call him all Orange Guy, but then I decided he was Creamsicle. So Creamsicle, I'm sitting on the deck, and those sardines were on the deck behind me. And he was coming up on the deck, and he saw me. He didn't see me at first because I was sort of behind the corner. And he saw me, and then I didn't react really except to say hi. And so he was like, oh, okay, then I'm gonna come up and eat some food. Is the other guy around? He looks around. My cat was not around. So he's up there eating, and then he heard something that spooked him, but he didn't want to quite run away, so he was still at the corner of the deck. So I had put those sardines in a little disposable pie pan thing, and I slid it down to him on the edge. So he came up on the corner of the deck, and then he was just sitting right next to me, because all I did was reach over and slide it down from where it was sort of behind me, so that he didn't have to get right up between my chair and the wall. I think that was claustrophobic for him. So then he was like, oh, okay. He got all friendly. Now, well, I mean, I've been talking to him for at least a year. Anyway, so that, I mean, I felt like I really had a breakthrough with him. And there's other cats around here that I'm friendly with. One has lived with various neighbors here, but I know that cat. He always comes over for pets. And there's new ones, little kittens, and new neighbors, and two of them came running up to me at once the other day, last week. Another day last week, I saw two different new ones that came up to say hi. I mean, I'm so happy that, you don't know how happy that makes me. But the best one was, me and my caregiver were coming from somewhere in the car, and we stopped at the mailboxes in the driveway when you pull up into my apartments, and we're pulling up to a stop, and I see this cat come walking up the driveway from where the apartments are, and I can see the cat has no collar and nobody that's out. There are people out, no one was paying any attention to it, and the cat's just walking around, looking around. I'm like, where the hell did this guy come from? How come he doesn't know where anything, why is he looking around like everything's new? And he was kind of in, like, it's an apartment complex, but people still drive like it's, I don't know, Grand Prix or something. It's stupid. Like, kids, animals, old people just drive off fast. They're young. Also dumb. Anyway. So I was a little concerned that this cat was kind of wandering around in the road, and nobody was at all concerned. So, but I'm in the car, and the cat's like beyond the hood of the car so that I can see it on the ground, so pretty far away. But, you know, we have the windows open, and I was like, oh, it's a kitty. Hi, kitty. And the cat looked up and looked over and, like, just came walking over. So, my caregiver hopped out to grab the mail, and I opened up the door to reach down to pet the kitty, and I pet the kitty once, and the kitty jumped in the car. And I was like, oh, well, what are you doing? But all he did was just kind of smell everything and get the pets, and he took off. I don't even know where he went. Well, obviously he belonged to somebody up there. I hope. He must. He must. He can't just be wandering around, you know, unattended. Anyway, so I've just been having, I'm going to say, a renewed cat power happening, because I've had it for quite some time, but I mean, I've never had them like coming out of the woodwork like this to me in this way. So I'm really just kind of like, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with that, and I've read a lot of stuff they could say like why that is, but why is it ramping up now? Why is the heat turning up on my cat attraction? I don't know if this is going to help with that at all. I don't even know if that was anything more than a not very humble brag about me and my cat prowess. Tiger, lunar force, ease in darkness, feminine energy. The tiger hunts at night, at one with the silence, fearing nothing. This card reminds us to take in the wild darkness, to allow the lunar forces to soothe and heal our spirits. Sensuality, receptivity, and devotion are all heightened in the midnight hour, and the tiger takes advantage of these boons. Spend some time in silence this evening, drinking in the potent calm. There is nothing to fear in the stillness except the awakening of your own power. Ooh. When in balance, passionate, strong, sensual. When out of balance, overstimulated. To bring into balance, tritaka, candle gazing. Has anyone ever attempted that? I tried it for a long time, and then I was like, nothing's happening. And then, you know, oh man, I just realized, okay, so then something started happening. I was like, oh, okay, I think I understand what's supposed to happen here. And then I fell asleep. Just like whenever I meditate. Doesn't matter if I slept 90 hours and 15 minutes ago I got up. I meditate and I fall asleep. So, but then I was like, oh, okay, I think I understand what's happening here. And then I haven't done it since. Oh, that's because I just haven't lit any candles out there. Well, I can. Well, anyway, that's suggested for when you're out of balance. But it's also like an interesting practice. Opens up channels, from what I understand. Okay, so I had some other thing on my mind a little bit, and I'm just going to quick read these notes about it. These days, it seems like some of us are touchy, irritable, and defensive. Like people that weren't before now are. Why? When? There was a crossover that took place there. It gets me wondering about the deets on that. But more importantly, that all in mind, there's something else. It feels like it's not a good time to say things to people. I feel like I never want to intrude upon people's bubble, not without invitation. Like, I hate that. Online, though, online. I don't have in-person arguments. Actually, it's not me having them online. I just see them and maybe drop a comment. However, it's online media outlets sometimes broadcast and they snipe at each other. Then viewers take up the fight or debate on behalf of their favorite news provider or platform, and anchor and or cause or ideology. Next thing you know, the audience is arguing with everyone. It's a crazy thing. I feel like it all accomplishes little, except for more of the same. Like, we just get into like a vicious circle of sniping. Hard for me to watch more than as long as it takes to get the news item. All of the pithy editorializing, it's even bled into the national broadcast. Foul language, bad grammar, regional, phonetically tortured pronunciation. Okay. That last part, those were my pet peeves. But doesn't make it untrue. I mean, people don't have to be perfect. There's just things that bother me when I have to see someone professionally speaking and you get to hear about it. Good for you. So, right, but I find fewer and fewer places to see the news, and more news than personal opinion. You know, like, more news as opposed to personal opinion. I'm not against an anchor or host giving theirs, but they gotta remember, people that tuned in for not, they gotta remember people tuned in for not that. We did not tune in to hear you go on and on about your opinion. I mean, I always look at it this way. When John Kennedy was assassinated, Walter Cronkite was on live, and he had to announce that the president had been assassinated. And so he said like a sentence, I think, about his feelings on the matter. And it was a very emotional thing. If you don't know about John F. Kennedy and his assassination and the emotional hit the country felt when it happened, then, well, perhaps you should, like, learn about it. Because, I mean, if you care about U.S. history, I imagine that's going to be people from here. And I also imagine, I feel pretty strongly that if you're from here and you don't know about that, you should probably look into it. Especially now, like, I'm just saying, to get, like, a flavor of the direction of where we came from and where we're headed now. And then, like, everything in between. You kind of had to be there, because otherwise, who's going to want to do that? I know if I was really young, I don't know how much time I'd be spending or wanting to spend on, like, recent history. I mean, you kind of have to, but I'm getting, like, off my nose. So let me get back on here and finish, because I'm almost done. So yeah, the people don't tune in to hear you go on, and I use editorializing specifically to say that they're making personal commentary, and that is not why. If you're called an anchor, that you're really not supposed to be getting personal. You're supposed to follow a script, I think. Yeah, I think you have a prompter, and then, like, other, like, platforms, like social media type online things, that's a different interface. It's a different dynamic. So there's leeway, but, you know, they get serious and professional for, like, the evening broadcast and stuff. So but it really, it's not, I don't really give a crap what they're wearing. They could be wearing a dang tutu, okay? Who cares? Just say what happened. That is why I have tuned in. And once again, I got all sidetracked. Okay, so starting to get now how little I need to offer every word that pops into my mind. If I'm so annoyed by everyone else, they gotta feel the same way about me. I'm serious because for myself, it's the second breakthrough of a similar kind in the past couple of months when I was conscious of what I was saying, like in the moment. Usually stuff just comes flying out, or it can just be impulsive, especially if I'm like, edging into angry. So that's big, and I'm not saying I've gotten it wired. I still fuck up sometimes, but I'm catching it before I'm acting. I'm taking consequences into account before the blurtation device explodes. And I share that for obvious reasons, I hope, because we're all having kind of a tough time of it. Well, I don't know. I shouldn't say all. I should never say all, because it's never all anybody anything. There's always some outlier person trying to mess with the uniformity, trying to mess with the Borg purity, and we don't want that anyway. So, I feel like this is like a reminder to stay strong in like turbulent times, where like that's some kind of firestorm in the background. But it also feels like very emotional and impulsive. Like, so you want to get in front of it. You want to be that cool cat. not even that. Like, cats are very they can go into places pretty easily that would give like a person pause, or because like they can see it in the dark, they can sense things that we cannot a lot more easily, so they're kind of better equipped to be sneaking around in the dark. And so I feel like for both us and other people, we have to like know like what is in the dark and be able to navigate through it safely, like I think it's just an attitude to always keep close to heart, like your coat of arms, like your how to be in these times that can be like unpredictable, and like you never know if you say the wrong thing to the wrong person. But one thing about the time now where it kind of feels like, oh, everything's gonna go to war, everything's falling apart, everything's this and everything's that. Watch out for that. What was I just saying? Don't just like fell swoop everything. The world doesn't act like that. Life doesn't act like that. There's always something that's not part of the group. And there's diversity for a reason. There's something to be gained from it, basically. But while destruction and aggression and stuff is happening that we kind of immediately associate, including like the way it affects us, so we catch feelings and act crazy as a result too. And it's a lot of things can affect us from the stars, like astrology, or the sun has explosions and things, and electromagnetics affect us, tides affect us. And we like to think that none of it does, because we control ourselves so well, and we look how great we are. We have a society and blah, blah, blah. Yes, we do. But it's breaking down and it's falling apart here and there. Other places it's great. The point is that indicates change and forward progression, which is good. That is positive, actually, even though it looks messed up and it sounds messed up. I don't know, it's always darkest before the dawn. But the possibilities are limitless, actually. And so, I mean, you really gotta flip your script sometimes, you really are the master of your own vehicle. You can decide to feel all bad about everything and think doom and gloom, or you can think, this will pass, and since all the stuff's all broken up and messed up and fallen down anyway, good, we'll fix it, we'll have new. And so you not only have to contend with times and people, you have to contend with everything else in the world, like your weather conditions, I don't know, earthquakes. And the changes that I was discussing, like, sometimes it can go all smooth for you, and sometimes you find things are a little more rocky, and you want to exceed this period, like you want to get through it and not just get past it and kick it over like garbage, but get through it gainfully. And I don't know why, but these bright spots are making me think of, like, the subtitle on this is resourcefulness. So I feel like it's like you gird yourself from, like, all kinds of incoming, let's put it that way. Like, whatever I had said before that can foul up in your life or foul up your life, whatever kind of upheaval, if it's yours or if it's the country's or if it's someone else's getting on you because they're behaving badly and, like, shooting up a place that you happen to be in, whatever it happens to be, you have to go out in the world ready for it. But you can do it. And I feel like these are bright flashes of inspiration, but also it just made me think of the fact that we have, like, guides and birth angels and guardian angels around us. So it's kind of like they're, like, right on us and beside us in these thorny, prickly times. And we're in there. There's a person in there, but the face is maintaining a pretty calm countenance, almost as if they're, like, just sort of waiting, not necessarily for things to pass, but definitely sure that'd be great. But I think waiting for themselves to, I'm thinking, like, to gain strength, to, like, sit there and, like, power up. But really what I'm thinking is that it's not the strength to be hard and strong, it's the strength to be fluid and strong, to be calm and yet repel what's coming at you that you don't want touching you. And finally, the ongoing message of these cards seems to be, like, just it, like, as usual, oncoming is coming, but in the spirit of the river, there's other disturbances. There are things happening harder things, more difficult to navigate things involving people, like cases against Trump, getting the emotions of the MAGA inflamed when he tells them that everybody is against him and he did nothing wrong, except for the breaking the law stuff. That's the only thing. That's the only reason he's really there. Because I've been thinking all day about, so many people here are like, yeah, Russia sounds pretty good. And, people that weren't, you would have never thought, 3 years ago that they would be, into MAGA or Trump or any of that. For any reason, some of these people, and yet today, people are turning that direction, looking that way. I'm not worried about it. But I'm mentioning it though because I did notice something I was watching today where they were at a MAGA rally, and I saw more black people and black couples walking by, and fully they weren't lost. They meant to be there. They had some of the regalia. They weren't as out of control as some people where they're just plastered their vehicle in their home with flags and stickers, and clothing is all American flag. But they had little things indicating that they were Trump people. I think, I don't know, a hat band. It was some kind of small, actually really tasteful kind of thing as far as that stuff goes. But undeniably Trump people, looking at the camera defiantly, yeah, that's right, we're here trumping, what about it? Whatever, what about it is right. Let me know how that turns out for you. So, anyway, takes all kinds. And, I think that goes with this, too, with that whole spirit of the river thing, the blending all of our unique... I can't remember the line now. Our uniqueness to the Borg collective. We're not Borg. But, we are an unconscious collective. Although, it's funny that we're unconscious of it, because a lot of the times we're surrounded with other people. How can we, not... How can we think we have nothing to do with each other? We go into our little apartments, the walls are this thick. You can practically hear the other person's digestion. Come on. There's people everywhere when you walk out the door. In most places. Not everywhere. Like I was saying, no white swaths, no brown swaths. But, the patterns just repeat in our world. Even... stupid stuff that you wouldn't even think about attaching to the same idea will have the same pattern. That's how connections are in this crazy world. But I feel like the eclipse, a lot of people were talking about it and saying a lot of different things, and to some people it was a big deal, to some people it was no deal at all. Some people thought it was really going to affect people and things, and some people thought it wasn't going to at all. With a lot of the spiritual stuff, it really depends on your willingness and receptivity to any of it. Just starting with something simple like belief. But if you don't believe in something, you're not going to see it. I actually have more to say about that, about the not believing stuff, but I'm not going to do that now because I actually want to stop. So, I think really today's message was just remember that stuff is still going on, and I got to tell you, I'm hearing that it's going to be still an uphill climb. Around Easter especially, I was looking at a lot of sort of end time stuff. And I'm not saying we're not in them. I think we definitely are. Finally, after, thousands of years. But people that can see further into the future than myself have been saying for a while now, where this is just starting out. Oh, but the Bible stuff and the end times. There's a lot of stuff that's been happening, but it has been happening for thousands of years. There's been a guy in sackcloth with a sign saying the end is near for centuries, probably. Poor guy must be so tired. But actually, I think this might actually be the time, but not right this minute. One last thought on that. In the Bible, it says that God took 7 days. Well, I have subsequently learned that each day actually represents like a century in that instance. So that's just another one of those cases where the Bible is saying something and you're like, that doesn't make sense. Because I've said it so many times. Come to find out something later, we're like, oh, okay, I guess it kind of does make sense. But the thing about it is, remember how many human hands have touched that thing, for one, and for the other, there's stuff in it you can take literally, but not really, because, hello, thousands of years ago, a bunch of stuff just doesn't even apply anymore. It's the ideas more, but one of the channels that I watch a lot recently kind of helped me feel a little bit better about that kind of thing when he said that it was mythology. It contained some history or historical elements, but it's not really as effective of a life manual as it once was because of the shift. We're shifting out of that dimension where, you know, the stuff that is making sense to like the Supreme Court justices and the federal ones in DC and the ones in Arizona that want to put a Civil War law into they want to enact it. Okay, I'm starting to ramble. Sorry. Did I even say what I stopped for? I don't know. Just that I'm just kind of unraveling all of this. Yeah, I'm losing the track. I don't know if I finished the thought on the Bible stuff. I'll have to maybe come back to it if I remember it again ever. Stuff gets lost. Thank you and good night.